Today's video is going to be different than usual. Trigger warning, this video includes a very brutal murder. It's a very frustrating and heartbreaking case. I got permission from Charles Taylor's sister Chastity Taylor to make this video. Their family want to spread as much awareness as possible. I'm gonna be posting a lot of content from the family's words. Their voices need to be heard. Charles Chuck Taylor was 35. He was legally blind. He had the same eye disease as his older sister Dominique. He also had mental illness. Charles Taylor had 3 beautiful children. He had a mental illness called bipolar depression, and he also had schizophrenia or schizophrenic tendencies.
I mean, just because a person has a mental health issue, that doesn't mean that they're not a person.
He was very, very, very close to his family.
Hi, my name is Sherry Taylor. I'm Charles Taylor's mother. I've been in his life ever since he was 3 years old. Sadly, today, his father cannot be with us because he's still mourning about his son, Charles Taylor Jr., known as Little Chuck. I just want everyone to know we thank you and God bless you for your support. And once again, we're still fighting for justice for Little Chuck in Wilmington, West Virginia. Thank you and God bless you.
Charles was a very bright kid. Charles was also legally blind. He went to the deaf and blind school, and he was also a knight. He went to school, he went to high school, and he was dating a lady, and they had 3 beautiful children in Atlanta, Georgia.
He had Naruto and Star Trek posters. He loved to play as a kid. He had an amazing sense of humor.
And he was so comical and so fun when he was growing up.
He keeps in contact with us constantly, and if he felt that he was upset or he wanted to leave, he would have called us by now 9 days.
Taylor's brother Chadwick says he talks to him almost every day and is concerned about how much time has passed since he has heard anything.
It's like he just fell off the face of the earth and nobody knows where he's at. And he's not giving any signs. There's no hint as to where, he could be.
The last time I talked to my brother was the 17th. And so that's really weird because I'm used to talking to him every day.
He was religious. Charles Taylor was very clever, and he was also living his life in recovery. Charles Taylor lived in Williamson, West Virginia. He went to treatment in Williamson and met a girl called Alexis Williams. They became a couple. On September 18th, 2020, Alexis called Dominique, Charles's older sister.
My name is Dominique Taylor, and I am Chuck's oldest sister. I'm the oldest of the siblings. My brother and I both share a visual impairment. I'm legally blind. Like she said, Chuck, he was a really fun person. Like, me and my brother were just super close. We loved each other to pieces. My brother sometimes had, spells where he would get really depressed, really sad. And he loved the Lord, he loved the word. Our Father has always instilled that in all of us. And he decided that he wanted to seek treatment for himself, because I want people to understand how he even became to be in Williamson. He went to get help, and while he was there, he met a girl named Alexis Williams. And they were together for, maybe about 2 years. On September 18th, she had gave me a call, and she was like, Dominique, your brother is missing. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, I can't find him.
And on September the 20th, 2020, his girlfriend reported him missing. They were told to wait a couple of days before reporting him. It should have been a silver alert because of his mental incapabilities and his blindness, so it should have been reported as soon as it happened. But the police, this is, I guess, their first mistake. The police in this case are so frustrating. He was believed to last have been seen leaving his apartment complex in Williamson's Towers at 5:01 a.m. The Officer Lane took the official report. He spoke to Alexis and then spoke to Dominique. He asked Dominique, is this out of his normal character? They said it is completely out of character for him.
My brother will never break contact. If he's not contacting any of us, he's talking to my dad all day long. And that was another big red flag.
He always, if he wasn't talking to me, he was talking to our Chad, he was talking to our other brother, Brandon. I just want to make that so clear that he constantly talked to his siblings. So it would not be no type of days that would go by that he wouldn't speak to us.
We kind of know what happened, and we just asking in Jesus' name that somebody will come forth and do the right thing so we can bury Charles.
Near the time he left, he called his brother on Facebook.
He called me that morning on
Facebook and I didn't answer because I was asleep. He kept telling me this, and it messes me up. He kept telling me somebody was after him, and I just disregarded it as Chuck's tripping, because my brother, he can be very, paranoid sometimes. Now you're dealing with a lot of people in that area who are drug addicts, and you have my brother, who may dibble and dabble sometimes. Yes, he's recovering. And, we relapse. I'm in recovery.
September 30th comes and we go up to Williamson to do a search party.
When we get there to Williamson, there's a press conference going on. Everybody's trying to look good for the cameras. Blah, blah, blah. Search party lasts 30 minutes.
All my siblings were there. There was about 12 volunteers there. First of all, we went to the news, people. Me and my brother and Chastity, we were at the local news by Wednesday, putting his face out there like, look, my brother's missing. Fast forward to the 30th of September, we go to Williamson, we do a search. The police department gave little maps.
Taylor's girlfriend didn't attend the search party. He was often at her apartment because they lived in the same complex, and he was uncomfortable around the fact she was around drugs and she was with dealers. I'll get into this more later, but she owed someone a lot of money. The police handed out maps and included a photo of him, supposedly the day he went missing. Family did not provide them with this photo.
And they showed a piece of paper, a still picture of my brother. It was the back of him. They told us none of the cameras worked in the building, but this was one of the pictures that we had of your brother. And it was a pink and black shirt that he had on. No one ever got a copy. They just showed the picture to the people who were going to do the search.
On October 3rd, 2020, rent was due.
Able to get in and get his stuff, get his apartment, shut down properly, do what we need to do. Well, we kept calling. There's no manager. Speaking of, the manager at Williamson Towers spoke to my mother and told her that the picture that was displayed on the September 30th date of the first initial search, she said that was not Charles. That in that picture, there were no working cameras, no video, no nothing. So October, November, December, it goes by, and I'm calling management because it took us forever. I had to go and find tax records just to find out who actually owned this building so that I could go over the manager's head to get my brother's stuff. Because this person is missing. You would think these people would want their money, right? It came out that the chief of police somehow, I guess, coerced the manager to be like, oh yeah, here's the video picture of Charles. It wasn't even him.
This is the towers right here that he lived in. In the right corner right there of the building, you can see a camera. So that's for the back building where he was supposed to leave out of that morning. At first, the police were saying that he was seen leaving the cameras. Then they said the cameras weren't working. And then when we had talked to the management of the building, they had said that was never Charles leaving the building that morning. It was someone else, and that they had been telling the chief of police this for a long time. My brother was never seen leaving the building on camera. So Williamson, the police department, they knew that was not him on camera for months, and they didn't tell us. The apartment manager, she said that she did confirm that there was someone knocking at his door at 5 a.m. posing as an undercover cop.
So the police saying there was no foul play involved because he was walking out alone, they don't know that. More on Alexis, the suspicious girlfriend. Alexis was like his caregiver, but not a good one. They were definitely in a relationship together, but she was being paid to look after him, and she was mentally ill herself. So how does that make any sense?
Alexis was designated to be my brother's caregiver from West Virginia Choice. They want to make it seem like she was just his caregiver. No, they were dating each other.
She isn't the mother of his children. She wasn't giving him his meds every day, and her mindset was kind of, if I can't have him, nobody can.
From talking to people in that town, we were told that Alexis was verbally and physically abusive to our brother.
And her story did change multiple times. The neighbors in the apartment did know that she was sleeping with someone else as well. She also had a drug addiction, as I said, and she owed someone a lot of money.
Alexis had this story of my brother going out of state to see his children, but that was not the case. The last time that any of his children spoke to him was the night that he did go missing. At the beginning, when my brother first went missing, her children contacted me and my family. Her daughter had told me that if my brother went missing, that her mother had something to do with it, because everywhere she goes, she has a tendency to owe drug dealers money, and people would always get hurt because of this. We were told about an incident where
Alexis had told my brother, and I quote, "If you keep fucking with me, bitch, they're going to find you somewhere dead in the mountains." About 2 months after my brother disappeared, Alexis ran out of state to Philadelphia. She was spending my brother's food stamp card, still has been spending my brother's food stamp card. Then she was trying to access his bank account.
We never were able to obtain his bank information because guess what? The police never got a subpoena for his bank information.
Her and her daughters, they kept reaching out to us to try to ask us for some money.
As the family would try and talk to his girlfriend Alexis, she was acting very strange and talking about him in the past tense, as if she knew he was already dead. At this time, the family thought he was just missing.
A week before that he went missing, he was really adamant on us coming to get him and bring him here back to Charleston, because he doesn't really have anywhere else to go other than where he lives and up here with us. And so we had all planned to come get him on October 1st, and then, he went missing. Another weird thing is weird because she kept saying that my brother left the apartment and was going to go to his room, but he went to next door to his neighbor to get a cigarette. That's the neighbor that she was dating, so which was weird because now the neighbor would not take a lie detector test. I think that Alexis knew who did it and where he was going that night, who he left with. He could not see. He could barely even send a text message off of his phone. So Alexis had to help him text somebody off his phone. She knew who he was going with that night, because every time my brother leaves, Alexis follows him. Even when my brother would come up here to Charleston and visit us, Alexis would stand outside the bathroom. So why is it that all of a sudden my brother goes missing and he's murdered and you didn't go with him? A week after he went missing, it was posed that she had a boyfriend.
She's not even concerned about what happened to my brother at all. I believe she had something to do with it. I honestly do.
Dominique and Charles both had this specific type of eye disease where you can only really see figures and you can't see specific details.
My brother would never walk off in the night or early morning when it's still dark outside, because we need the light in order to be able to see where we're going.
This policeman said he left his residence around 5:01 a.m. from the building on his own accord. We do not suspect any foul play as far as someone taking him out the building or threatening his life in any way. These policemen are not innocent.
Charles left on his own accord. He left his residence around 5:01 a.m. From this building on his own accord. We do not expect any foul play. We do know that Charles left on his own accord.
When they go to Charles's apartment on the day of the search party, they notice some strange things. His apartment wasn't seen as a crime scene. Police were walking around touching things without gloves.
The chief tells us, come upstairs and we want you to take a look at your brother's apartment. My brother's apartment was pretty much empty because he had an apartment, but he also stayed with Alexis, his girlfriend. He had some security cameras on the walls, and they found the Bible. They found the police found a couple letters that he had written saying that, he was afraid.
It looked really staged. My brother was really clean, but that was really staged. He had his papers on the ground in his bedroom, and it showed he was legally blind, and it had these Bible statements in his kitchen. And it was just weird to me. It was really weird.
We're in the apartment. We're looking around. There's nothing there. There's all kinds of police officers in there. Nobody has any gloves on. Everybody's touching things. My brother's apartment was never deemed a crime scene in this whole situation.
His camera was gone. His Xbox was gone. I think his TV was gone. And there was a blue bloody jacket of his.
Now back to his missing items. The other day, Alexis had called us and she had mentioned about his stuff being gone. She was like, he gave his TV away to a neighbor downstairs, and I asked who. She said, it doesn't really matter who because he died a week after Chuck went missing. And then I had talked to my mother today, and she was like, no, that's not right. She had told me that Chuck had gave her his TV.
Charles's mother, Sherry Taylor, said, Chuck has been gone for over a year, and every day we just stay so upset because someone knows something. I would just really appreciate it if somebody would come and tell us where my son's body is. This quote was a year ago, but it still holds the same power. On October 3rd, Saturday, this is when Dominique was talking to the police about search dogs, and they promised false promises of search dogs. To this day, they haven't.
I recently just found out that he made me an authorized person on his account. So this is some random man that had came into his house. I had actual video of it, but guess what? It got deleted from the cloud somehow. So it's out. We don't know who that guy is. We have no clue of who he is. But the video showed him coming in, going in his refrigerator, kind of looking around, and then boom, he just walks out the door.
November 17th, they were getting their bearings, asking people, hi, have you seen my brother? He's missing.
We're driving around. We're kind of finished with our search, but we're trying to get the bearings of how the layout is down there, because it's really weird. When you cross a certain street, you're in what's considered South Williamson, Kentucky.
We just happened to go, just cross over to the Kentucky side, to that little plaza before we were about to leave, and we stopped this woman, and we asked her if she knew anything about my brother. She was like, oh, I know who your brother is. You know, you're never gonna find him.
And she's like, I heard about your brother. He some people cut him up over on Vincent Street. It was a random lady. We just asked her, you know, hey, have you heard anything about, you know, the missing black man, Chuck Taylor? And she was like, yeah. It was said that he was chopped up on Vincent Street.
It was 2 houses down from this random woman called Sally. This is the house. It was seemingly abandoned. It was like a trap house. The family obviously don't wait for this woman, Sally, who's saying like, oh, I can drive you up there. They just go. It was dirty. It was messy. Piles of things outside, like bloody glove on the porch with lots of trash.
Yeah, I'm Charles Taylor's brother. One thing I wanted to be able to talk about what we found, because I was with her. We went up to the house at 9:34.
Is this the house right here that I'm showing on screen? Is that the one you guys are
Yeah,
talking about?
that's it right there. Now, right there on the front porch is where I found the bloody gloves. Well, nobody was there at first. This is the house that the lady had said that my brother was murdered in. That area is it brings a large amount of drug traffic.
The house looked abandoned. They don't obviously hesitate to knock the door down. Charles's brother Chadwick kicks in the door. There was a blood-stained carpet that was soaked all the way through.
I kicked in the door. So I go inside the door. There's blood-stained carpet on the floor. There was an axe. There was a big assortment of knives on the table.
These knives on the side. It was like right beside the refrigerator. There's knives. There's scissors. There's just a whole bunch of stuff. There was a long hallway, and there was like 2 bedrooms, but there was one room, I'm guessing it was the bedroom, that was padded locked. So I kept asking, I was like, what's in here? What's in here? And so I kind of like got a peep through of it, and it was like a bedroom, but it had like plastic wrap in there, but it was like, the house was dirty. It was real dirty, but that one room was like super clean for some reason. And then there was like all types of jailhouse cleaning supplies. Like, I mean, strong cleaning supplies.
I go outside in the back, in the rear of the house. There was a lot of carpet that was already taken up. It was stained through. My mother had called the chief of police.
Whilst the police are on their way, someone comes up to the house.
So we see this man. His name was T.
He says,
hey, what are you doing? This is my house. And so me and him get into a confrontation, because I'm like, well, you know, I thought this house was abandoned, but first and foremost, above all, there's blood everywhere, bloody carpet everywhere, and somebody's telling me that my brother's been murdered.
So me and my brother, like, we're just bugging out right now.
So he goes to tell me that he knows my brother. During the time of his disappearance, he was incarcerated, and people had been staying at his house, but he didn't know.
He was like, yeah, I lived here. And I'm like, so what are those bloody gloves right there? What's that knives? We heard our brother was murdered in this house. He was like, oh, I'm just cleaning up the house. I was just stripping it up. And we were like, I think this man think we're stupid, because who the hell deep cleans a trap house?
Okay, this doesn't look suspicious to you. You never had any idea to call the police or anything? Oh, no, I don't fool with the police or anything like that. I just got it, you know.
He starts saying that the blood was peanut butter and jelly, a mess from a sandwich he made. They could smell it was blood.
There's no way you're going to tell me I found gloves with coagulated blood on them, and you're going to tell me it's a container or something from a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You know what I'm saying? I'm 31 years old.
And he ripped up all the carpet. He was like, yeah, I did that. So we seen those bloody ass gloves. And he tried to tell me that it was he tried to say it was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So at this point, my mom had called the Williamson Police Department to come back down. So my mom called the mayor too. She was just like, I want somebody else to see.
They have a go at the brother Chadwick for knocking down the door because they're like, oh, it's breaking and entering. The owner of the house gives them consent, so they do look inside.
That's when they rolled out all the carpets, blah, blah, blah. So however we were expecting them to bring a crime lab out, no. They're sitting there just throwing everything in a plastic bag and not getting a fuck. Then they got all the evidence together, and then the mayor said that he was going to put it on his truck. He was like, don't worry, I'm going to make sure the evidence is safe. I'm going to put it on my truck and then put it in my garage so you know that's safe. So me and my mom was just looking at each other. So I started recording, and so I made sure that I got all the videos that I could take that night. We found out with our meeting with the state police a couple months ago, those gloves were never logged. Half of the stuff that they were supposed to log in were never logged. Found a pair of shoes, looked just like my brother's shoes. Didn't take that. Didn't take it to the lab. They found male clothes out there. Didn't take that to the lab. They fucked up that whole crime scene. They tried to tell us that it was animal blood. And I'm like, that's not animal. Like, I know we live in West Virginia. Everybody goes hunting here. Nobody takes an animal at home, strips the animal down and gets blood and stuff on the carpet and then roll it back up. No, that was obvious murder that went on in that house. And they fucked up the whole investigation.
There's a set procedure for collecting evidence, and here in the state of West Virginia, it's supposed to go to the West Virginia State Police for their crime lab. And the bloody carpet was put in the back of the mayor's truck, and he took it home and put it in his garage for safekeeping. These items have still not been introduced to the state police today. I know it seems outlandish, but there has been so much of disruption of the chain of command and handling evidence regarding my brother's case that it's just phenomenal. That it's no idea just to think that it's not intentional.
The mayor should be arrested with tampering with evidence. This case was so mishandled by police. Chastity and the mum have been basically stalked and harassed since his death. Still to this day, they're receiving calls from people saying horrible things, sending them on fake searches. It's actually insane. I'm gonna let Chastity explain it more because she knows a lot.
Miss Lorianne Fields. Well, Lorianne is the mother of Abigail Chapman. Abigail Chapman is one of the women who lured my brother out to his death that morning. Yes, he was dismembered, and now she's telling everyone that his body is in a bag on someone's property, that he's buried, and that she knows exactly where he is, and that this is some type of weird trophy for her, knowing that you have a dead blind man under someone's property and his family can't find him. And then she makes videos and she screen records my stories and stuff and then put their own caption talking about I murdered my brother, never murdered my brother. That's bullshit. Found my address, and she posted my address, and I'm like, well, why is she not getting in trouble for this? Because again, my brother's murderers have not been caught yet. I've already got death threats from some of the people in Williamson, and then now my address is out, and nobody's acting like it's serious. Or let's talk about the page that you were talking about my autistic son on. Yeah, let's talk about that one. Or these fake ass TikToks you keep making of me. Brooklyn just kept going, making fake Instagrams of me saying I murdered my brother. And I'm like, who is she? Because I don't know her. I've never seen her before. I don't live in the same county. I live almost 2 hours away.
We're not scared anymore. You don't understand how many threats and stuff we have got behind for telling our story, and they want to, try to say that we're slandering, we're doing this, we're doing that. Why are we out here searching for our family member? We just left from up there yesterday, and on a blank mission, we couldn't do anything because it had flooded out. I have over 23 recordings of a guy named Charles Morrison who would call my mom and call my sister, mainly my sister, and tell her, oh yeah, your brother's over in Big Split Holla, cut up. And I'm like, what? I mean, he would just, he and that the police had something to do with it. I should have sent you this stuff.
A man by the name of Charles Morrison, about 2 months after the search party, he informed the Taylor family that he believed Charles was lured by 3 women.
This poor family aren't getting a chance to grieve and start the grieving process because they're having to stay strong and fight because there's literal people harassing them. Whilst they were looking for Charles in Williamson, driving walking, searching for him. The people in Williamson would follow them, shouting names at them. Dominique and her family posted 400 missing posters for Charles. When they would come back, every single one of them would be teared down.
When you go down there, it's very, very weary, very, very scary, you just get this vibe that something is not right in that town. People were always following us just to see what we were doing, shouting things out the window. You know, I had my son out there, you know, posting up posters, and he was telling me that, you know, people were screaming derogatory things to him out the window. And it's just like, wow, like nobody wanted to help us. That's the feeling that we got. People are comfortable with just calling us and telling us, sending us on fake searches all around. And they watch us when we come down there. They watch us just suffer and look for him with and it's just so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Here are the people that were interviewed.
He was supposed to interview Abigail, Megan, Rhonda. Rhonda's been MIA. On December 1st, my brother's birthday, the police chief had told us that this woman, Rhonda Johnson, was supposed to be coming in, so that she knew everything about his murder. It is rumored that she had his wallet the night that he was murdered and that she lured him out to be killed. But people around Williamson say that they see her every day and that she's out walking every day. So he said that he interviewed Megan, but he was not going to record her, which I thought was weird because you're supposed to record all your interrogations and interviews and stuff like that. So once again, something fishy is going on. So we're just like, fuck this. We're about to get switched over to the state police. I'd say it was November the 3rd or the 4th. I received a phone call from this man named Charles Morrison. So I'm asleep. He calls me. He's real panic and real frantic. He's like, was your brother ever found? And I was like, no, my brother's still missing. And he was like, somebody tried to tell me that he was found on the Martin County line border and that he was safe and okay and that these people found him and they took care of him because he was blind. I was like, no, that didn't happen. And he was like, oh, well, I know the people who killed your brother. That's when he mentioned Abigail and he mentioned Rhonda and then he mentioned Megan. That's how their names first came into play. Megan Leedy was bragging, talking about, we killed that N-word, blah, blah, blah. We put his body 6 different places all around Pike County. They're never going to find him. So Megan and Abigail. So these 2 women had tried to set this one man up last year to get robbed. He had a stimulus check or whatever. So they had met him. They had beat him up at the train tracks and robbed him, took his money, left him unconscious at the train tracks. So trigger warning, this right here can be kind of graphic, and the train literally took off his fucking leg. So Megan had changed her profile picture to this one man. They literally beat this man up and tied him up, took a fucking picture of him, and she made this her cover picture. And on October 1st, Abigail was tagged in this gruesome picture right here. So this picture was uploaded and tagged. Megan was tagged in this picture, and it was like 2 weeks after my brother was missing. So I'm trying to correlate if these two have any similarities with his case and this, because that just, I don't know, something like seeing this picture just really like makes it feel off. Megan and Abigail. These 2 were the masterminds for the murder of my brother. Megan and Abigail had this idea to murder my brother. He had a Social Security check every month because he was blind. And he left that morning with $450. I know my brother. He smoked weed a lot. And I always would talk to him all the time. Like, he would be so trusting with people so easily. He probably just was like, oh, I have $450. I can pay for my own weed, blah, blah, blah. And it was a robbery gone bad. Megan and Abigail have done this before last year. I've made a video about a man who they've helped murder last year because they wanted to rob him. They go around, they terrorize the whole town, rob people. I mean, they are known for setting people up to be robbed and murdered. I had an anonymous phone call with someone that said that my brother's girlfriend knew exactly what happened. She wasn't involved, but that's why she ran out of state. And there is also a rumor about that my brother knew something about a murder that happened last year. So I don't really, the way that this was set up, this was not something random. Like, they had this planned out. Abby and Megan were the ones who planned it out. Rhonda joined in. It's rumored that 2 men were the ones who, quote unquote, took care of the job. So then we all go down to Williamson 2 days later, and then we start our own investigation. So I think it was November the 14th. That was the day that we found the evidence about his murder. Me and my brother Chad and my sister Nene, my mom, we were all down there in Williamson. Me and my brother was swimming in creeks. We done climbed up mountains. I mean, we done went far, deep off, close to the railroad tracks. I mean, we were everywhere, all in that county, looking for him.
These guys obviously weren't interviewed well because they obviously know what happened or had some involvement, and yet they're free, they're not arrested, they weren't charged.
Abigail and Megan Leedy, they were supposed to be the prostitutes who had supposedly had lured my brother out.
And Dakota Bailey, the man, he was like a slight build, quite a small guy, so it must have taken more than just him. They obviously denied this and said, we don't know who he is. But later on, they were telling their friends, I know who he is, we did this to him. So their story was changing. The fact that they're free is horrific.
That same time we saw her off camera, she told us about a man named Brian and how Brian was involved in his murder and could be a potential murderer. So this is Brian. I get on Facebook and what do I see? They're fucking engaged. And what else did Miss Samantha fail to tell us? She was related to the owner of the house, the same house that my brother was murdered and dismembered in. So here's Megan and here's Abby. Because now I'm just wondering, when are they going to finally charge them for being accessory to murders? Because it's not just my brother's murder, but there's another murder from last year. Like, they get away with so much stuff. This is probably like the first time in a year that they've been arrested down there. But they never have to atone for the serious shit that they do. And I don't understand why. And watch Winston Police Department end up deleting these comments pretty soon about my brother like they always do.
December 2020, Alexis Williams says that his phone appears in a box in the mattress or something.
This is crazy. Come December, all of a sudden, a phone appears. Who does the phone appear by? Alexis. The detective that took Chuck's initial missing report, Lane, he calls me and tells me, yeah, Alexis just brought a phone down here and she claims that she found it inside of a box spring mattress. And I'm like, what? They get the phone and do they send it off? Mm-mm. They go and give it to another civilian. And we feel like the case is being mishandled. And we also want to know, where is that phone at? He proceeds to tell my family, Chief Dotson said that you have the phone in your possession. He said, I don't have that phone. So then when we come down there to do another search, they just throw the girl under the bus and was like, yeah, we gave the phone to her, but now we have the phone back in the possession. And what I'm saying is, I'm kind of tongue-tied, is what I'm trying to make clear is that they did not do proper protocol.
Have you ever heard of police giving evidence to a random civilian? All of his calls and texts were deleted. The answer of his death could have been in the phone.
2 or 3 weeks before my brother went missing, a guy down the street where he lived at got killed with an axe over a $50 drug transaction. And it was behind Megan Leedy and Abigail. They took drugs from somebody and pinned it on somebody else, and they killed him with an axe.
Do you want to talk about West Virginia and Kentucky in general? Just a couple of years ago, there was a KKK rally in Kentucky. Institutional racism is still so present, so ingrained. This isn't failed justice, this is the way that the system has been built. And I do think that does play a massive part in this case.
There was an incident where the Williamson Police Department had arrested my brother under someone else's name, and he was beat really bad. And so this is the messages right here. Also, trigger warning, the next pictures are like police brutality. He had told me that they had arrested him under someone else's name and that they had beat him really bad in the woods. And he did jump out of the paramedic, so he got arrested on the Kentucky side because there's a crossover that you can cross over to. And his kneecap was busted, his elbow right here, and you can see how bad that is, like from the side. He did tell me that he was in fear of his life from living in Williamson, and that he did not like it down there.
There's so many questions about the girlfriend because she obviously knows something. Alexis never reaches out to the family. There's still no answers. His murderers are still free. There is a petition, which I'll put in the link below. Share this story as much as possible because they need his story to be spread.
You will know his name before this is all over with. We are going to go down there and we are going to show that that black man was loved. He was loved. He wasn't somebody that was just thrown to the side of the road. We love our brother, and we're going to get people to rally together and come down there and show support. Because I want to tell you one more thing. I want to tell you what, this is what's hard for me. I've been down there 3 times. I've posted over 400 posters about my brother, hanging them on their poles. Every time I come back, somebody has torn them all down. We put them up, and that somebody in that town tears all my brother's posters down. So we're coming, Williamson. We're coming, and we're going to say his name down there. This is way too heavy on us. It has been too much time that has passed, and we need answers. And no one should, in their right mind, should ever think that we have to cower and be quiet about what happened to our brother. He didn't deserve that. And I know in my heart, when this is all over, my brother was killed for absolutely no reason whatsoever. I can go on record with that. He's legally blind. When I say we're legally blind, I am 2,450. I only see shadows. My brother and I, we carry what our disease is called. We have macular degeneration Stargardt's because we were diagnosed when we were teenagers. So we don't have that much vision, and they preyed upon that.
It can't be swept under the rug because that's exactly what the police want. That's exactly what the suspects want.
Have we contacted the FBI? Yes. We've contacted them numerous times. They keep telling us to contact internal affairs, and then they'll take it from there or talk to state police. So we have state police on our case. State police told us that the FBI was involved at first. Turns out that was a lie.
This is Chastity Taylor's TikTok. She's basically being threatened so much to the point she feels like she needs to delete her account. They can't silence this.
We just need as much awareness as possible. To some people, it may be, that's last week's drama or anything, but this is something that we're reliving every day. Out of it, it's just us. We're not really getting that much help from the police. We're just they just had me looking under a bridge that they already had searched 8 times looking for something, while the police chief just watched me dig in the river looking for my brother's body.
Arrest the killers of Charles Taylor. Justice for Charles Taylor. I want to thank Chastity for letting me talk on this subject. Even though I have a small channel, he'll never be forgotten.
Please, please, please do not forget to sign a petition in my bio.
Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.